Hello and welcome everyone to Salesforce Women in Tech Group Kolkata. We are back with the most awaited workshop, which is on Lightning Web Components. A very quick introduction about me. My name is Khyati Mehta. I'm working professionally as a Salesforce developer in Cognizant Technology Solutions. I'm a proud marketing champion. I lead this group, Women in Tech Group Kolkata. I have led multiple initiatives in India, such as helping underprivileged children, helping special students with Salesforce. Hence, I was also featured on Salesforce blog for it. I'm a community speaker, a trailhead mentor. I also have my podcast name as Salesforce Offbits with Khyati and a blog named as All About Salesforce. I have recently announced WIT Dreaming, Women in Tech Dreaming, and all the details will be coming up really soon. You can share your learnings, thoughts, or key takeaways from the workshop. And don't forget to tag us with Kolkata Khyatu07 and the speaker. I am Kapil Batra with the hashtags Trailblazer community and with Kolkata and with LWC. Winner will be chosen at the end of the day and will be posted on over LinkedIn and Twitter. So we have the speaker of the day. I am sure everyone knows him. He's Kapil Batra. He's a Salesforce MVP and a founder of Salesforce Bold. He's working as a Salesforce developer and has 9x Salesforce certified and is also a blogger. I won't waste much of the time here. Over to you, Kapil.
Khyati, thanks for the wonderful introduction. So, hello everyone, I'm Kapil Batra. I'm a Salesforce MVP and a Salesforce developer, and I'm having a YouTube channel. If you're not aware about it, maybe Khyati can share the link in the chat, and definitely you should subscribe to it if you're planning to learn LWC or if you're planning to have different scenarios in LWC, then definitely that is going to help you. Okay, so today, as it is going to be the first session of this LWC workshop, so I know like everyone must be expecting some live demos here in this workshop, as you know, because see, theoretical part you can get it from anywhere, but unfortunately, this is the first video, and the first video should always be the introduction as well. So definitely, we'll be having few slides here. Okay, but definitely, I would try to display at least the front look, like how your org is going to look, how you can create the scratch org, and how you can have your components there. So definitely I would try to include those things here. Okay, now let me share my screen quickly. Just give me a second. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Okay, so let's start this session. So first of all, I would like to thanks Khyati and Salesforce Women in Tech Kolkata for this opportunity for hosting this wonderful workshop. So I'll be speaking as a speaker on behalf of Women in Tech Kolkata group, and there are some other speakers as well, and they will be taking some different sessions, and I'll be having some different sessions. Okay, so this will be our first session, which will be basically, I mean, of course, we have to start with the introduction, and definitely, I mean, it is going to be a lot of theory part only, because in introduction we cannot, I mean, include much demos. Okay, and if you have any questions, then you can definitely put them on chat, and I will try to revert back everyone after this session. Okay, so let's start with the basics. Okay, and if you're already following me, then it is really good, but if you're not, then these are my social media handles. You should definitely check them out. I'm most probably active on Twitter and Instagram as well. I mean, if you need some personal discussion advice, or maybe you can also ask me some queries on Twitter or Instagram also. I'm also available on LinkedIn. My YouTube channel is Salesforce Bold is on YouTube. Apart from that, I'm having a blog as well, which is salesforcebold.com. So if you need any code related to my video, so you'll be able to find it there. And apart from it, there are some other informative blogs as well. Okay. And of course, I'm having a Facebook account as well, so you can just follow me there as well. Okay. And Kathy, are we recording this webinar?
Yes, we are recording it. Will be uploaded on YouTube. I have shared the links as well.
All right, great. So this webinar will be recorded. Okay. So in today's session, guys, our agenda will be to understand like what is Lightning Web Component, and I can assume like if you have signed up for this workshop, then at least you guys are having basic ideas. But as it is the introduction part, so I will be giving you that basic idea once again. So maybe that might bore you, but this is as it's supposed to be. After that, we'll be having some advantages of using LWC, like why we should use it and why we are not using some other technology instead of LWC. And after that, we will discuss why LWC now, because like we were already having Aura component and we were working on it. So why Salesforce introduced LWC now and why we should use it? Okay. The next thing will be Aura versus Lightning, because definitely there are some minor and some major difference between these two technologies. These two are lightning components. So in lightning component, basically we are having two variants now, Aura and LWC. And even though it's been a long time since LWC is trending and everyone is using LWC, but trust me, guys, still there are some situations where you have to use Aura component. You don't have any other option. As a developer, I'm personally using. Still, I'm creating few new Aura components for my clients, or because there are some requirements which can't be fulfilled using only LWC. Okay, sometimes we have to coexist them in a single component to fulfill the requirement. Okay. And later on we will discuss why you should go for LWC above Aura, as uh, i I assume like you must be working on Salesforce. Maybe you're a developer designer, then definitely you must be aware like what are the Aura components, and there are chances like you must have worked on it already. Okay. And at the end, i will uh, I will show you a path through which you can start your journey in LWC. So maybe few of you are already working on it, few of you are having basic knowledge, and maybe there are few people who don't know anything about it and they just want to get started into it. Okay. So that will be the last agenda of this session. Okay. So let's start with the introduction as always. So guys, Lightning Web Component is a programming language, basically building for Lightning components, as we are already having multiple programming languages in Salesforce. As earlier we were working on Aura. So this Lightning Web Component is basically part of the Lightning component thing. So basically now the Lightning component are divided into two sections, the Aura one and the LWC one. Okay. So basically the Lightning Web Component, we can use the web standards, and in Lightning Web Component, we are having the web standards breakthrough of the last 5 years. Because if I talk about 2014, so in 2014, the web standards were completely different, and what we were having in 2019. Okay, now the Lightning Web Component and the Aura component can coexist on a same page and can interoperate. We can pass the data between them. We can make the functionality using both of them. Okay. Now you can build Lightning components using two programming models, Lightning Web Component and original model Aura one. The Lightning Web Components are custom HTML element built using HTML and modern JavaScript. So Lightning Web Component, most of the part is happening on the client side only, because we are working on HTML and most of the part in JavaScript also. Okay, so if you are even new into it, so that could be easy for you if you're really interested in the development part, because learning HTML and JavaScript, I personally feel like this is the basic of every programming. Like uh, I still remember when I started my journey as a designer only. I'm not talking about development. When I started my journey as a designer, so the first thing I learned was HTML. And after that, the next thing I learned was JavaScript. Okay. So I think, if you're planning to learn LWC, then it could be very easy for you. To create and develop LWC and use their powerful feature and performance benefit, you need to set up Salesforce DX. Like if you are working in Aura component, so you we can create Aura component from developer console, but unfortunately this is not possible with LWC. So for LWC, you have to set up, you have to configure a environment in which you can develop your LWC component, and then you need to write it locally first, then you have to push it to the org. Doing this, you will need to set up your developer environment. You need to set up tool like Visual Studio Code, Salesforce command line, and interface, and definitely an org is must here. Okay, so let me give you a quick walkthrough to the org. Like for example, this is a Salesforce org, and while working on Aura component, you can just simply go to developer console. Let me open it in a different tab. And here in file new, we are having option to create a lightning component. You can just simply name it and add the meta here and then create a lightning web component. But if you will notice, to create lightning web component, the option is component here stands for the Aura one only. To create a lightning web component, you need few tools like the first one and the most important is code. There are some different ID also available. Like you may have IntelliJ ID, that is definitely a paid version, and Salesforce is also promoting this VS Code thing on a high level because, of course, I mean it is free, so anyone can use it. Okay, so to create a component, you need the environment, you need the tool. So for for creating the component, I'm using this VS Code, and from here you can create lightning web component, deploy it to the org. Like here you will notice for everything you have to use the commands, the sfdx commands, like create scratch org lightning web component, and you can also create the Aura one from here. And to deploy it, you have to push it to your org. Okay, now pushing a lightning component to the org, there are basically two ways to do it. You might be working in a developer or maybe directly in a sandbox. Or the second option is you can have a scratch org here. Okay, in a scratch org, basically what is the benefit? Like if you have a specific feature that needs to be developed, and let's say if you're a good developer, then you can have an idea like it could take around 3 to 7 days to design a feature. After that, there will be no use of that org. So if you're using a scratch org, you can set the expiry there. You can set the specific days, like after these days the org should get expired automatically. And let's say you have developed your feature, you can deploy it to the org itself, and your scratch org will be disposed automatically. Okay, so it won't be having any extra memory or extra space on the servers. So that is also a benefit of using this external functionalities. Okay, now let me show you some advantages of using LWC. So guys, I would say these are the advantages of using any new language. Okay, so maybe after a few years there could be a new technology that goes beyond the LWC. So these features will be available in that new technology as well. Because definitely if we are working on a technology, it should perform better. As compared to the last one, it should have compatibility over the browser, because as we are developing the web technologies, so the technology should be compatible with web browser. The development should faster. Okay, if the development is not faster, but let's say if a technology is having better performance but the development is poor, so it is not easy to work on that. Okay, so the development should also be faster, and it should be easy to optimize, easy to learn. So these, I would say, I won't say like these benefits are especially in LWC. I would say every new technology must be having these benefits. Like for now, we are having LWC as a new one, so definitely LWC are having this benefit here. Okay, so these are the basically, there are a lot of features as well, but these are the basic features which you will be getting while working on the LWC part. Okay. Now, the question is why LWC? You won't believe, as a developer, when I first heard about it. So previously, I was working as a developer, and my task was to migrate the org from Classic to Lightning. So we were basically creating Aura components for all the VF pages and all these things. Then suddenly Salesforce introduced these LWC, and everyone wants the LWC at that time because it was new technology. I mean, it is still in boom. So the first question I had in my mind, like, why LWC now? Like, why we should use it? Okay. Now to understand it, let me take you back to the 2014. Okay. In 2014, when the Lightning framework launched along with Aura programming model, web standards only offer a limited foundation for the full stack development. Okay. So basically, to develop an application, you have to use a web stack. If you're not aware about what is a web stack, then let me explain it to you. So basically, a web stack is a collection of software which is required to develop an application. Okay. Like, I mean, it is very basic. Like, to develop an application, you need an operating system, programming language, database engine, and definitely a web server to make it live. So these are few basic things which is required, and collection of these things is called web stack. Okay. And previously in 2014, the web stack and the technology we were using was ECMAScript 5. Okay. And nowadays we are using ECMAScript 7 here. And I mean, if you're wondering what is ECMAScript, so let me explain it that as well. So guys, ECMAScript is a general purpose programming language that is implemented in JavaScript and some other languages also. So basically, you can understand like this: when we get the newer version of the ECMAScript, then it will be faster than the previous one. Okay, and the key element like component model, template module, and shadow DOM was missing from the web standards. So basically, to create a component or create an application, you need to follow some web standards. Like on the right side, you may notice the image, which is from 2014 web standards, where we were having everything. I mean, not everything, but most of it in framework. And you can understand it like this: like the less dependency on framework gives us the more power to develop a high standard application. So in 2014, we were having a lot of dependency on framework. Like we were having data services that was in framework, UI component, component model, template, even though rendering optimization was on framework. Modules, language extension was on framework. And in web standards, we were having few basic things like ECMAScript 5, which was, I mean, is very poor right now. Events, we were having standard elements only and the standard rendering functionality. Okay. Now, this image will show you the web stack transformation from 2014 to 2019. So you can see the template, custom element, and shadow DOM modules. They are part of the web stack itself. Okay. So this is the model of 2014. This is the model of 2019. And if you will compare them, then you can see the most of the things which were in the framework now are in the web. So you can see the web components, templates, custom element, shadow DOM. We are having ECMAScript 7 here, event rendering, element rendering. So basically, I mean, almost most of the things are web standards. Okay, and still we are having few things as a framework, which is required as like the Lightning design system, the base Lightning component, because we have to use both like Aura and LWC. So these two things are still in the framework layer. Okay. With the power of the latest web stack, LWC comes with many different advantages over Aura component. So this could also consider like why LWC is better than Aura, or maybe why a new technology is better than the previous one. So these are, I mean, the features I'm going to tell you are the common features. As I told you earlier, like every new technology must have these common features to, to be optimized. So definitely LWC are having better performance as compared to Aura. LWC used the modern web standards, these one on 2019 one. Okay. Compatible with Aura components, you can use your LWC component inside the Aura component. Faster loading sites as it is having less dependency of framework, so definitely the speed is faster. We are having better security and LWC, better testing, better browsing compatibility, and the main point I think that should also be in every new technology, easy to learn. Because in LWC, when it came out, the first thing, as a developer, we feel like now we have to learn a new language. Because earlier, I mean, as I remember earlier, at the beginning, I learned VFH and Apex only. Then when I mastered in VFH and Apex, then Salesforce introduced the Aura thing. Then we have to learn the Aura thing again. Okay. But for a developer, you have to change your capabilities, change your technology as per the time. Otherwise, there is no use of it. And now when the LWC came up, the first thing was in my mind as a developer was that now we have to learn a new technology. But when I go through the document, when I check the document and the few examples as well, so it was like pure HTML and JavaScript thing only. The Apex is absolutely same, like we were having in the Aura one. The Apex is still same, but like on the designing side, most of the things are coming to the client side now. Okay, so that is the one of the main reason why LWC is faster, because we are having most of the task on the client side itself. We don't have to make the server callouts now because we are having everything on the client side. Now the next question, I mean, if you're paying attention to this presentation, then the next question in your mind should be what is going to happen with Aura now? I mean, are we going to skip it forever? Is it going to be used for the old applications only? And maybe we can deprecate it? Well, now you know the power of LWC. Now you must be wondering what is going to happen with Aura component. Okay, so the answer for this question is no, we are not skipping that. Okay, let's understand it like this. Aura and LWC are perfect match for each other. They can work together. They can coexist on the same page. Okay, you can put your LWC and Aura component on the same page, and you will not notice any of the different there, because the LWC can talk to your Aura component, and your Aura component can also talk to your LWC. I mean, if when you will see both of them on the UI, you won't even notice any difference between them. I mean, if I check them as a customer on the UI, then as a customer, I'm not going to know, like, even though if the developer has used the Aura or LWC. Okay. And we can also have the LWC inside the Aura component, but the vice versa is not true, because you don't want to include a custom framework inside a generic framework, which is LWC. So that's how we can say LWC and Aura can work side by side. I mean, you can just consider them as best friend now, because both of them are part of the Lightning component. So whenever you will hear about Lightning component, you can consider them as Aura and LWC both, not just Aura component. Okay. Now, Aura components and Lightning Web components can coexist and interoperate, and they share the same high-level service. Okay, if you will see on the right side, looking at this image, you will notice that both LWC and Aura share the same browser events, standard elements, and rendering mechanism. The difference is only that Aura was built on ECMAScript 5, but LWC is built on latest ECMAScript 7 version, which is more powerful, definitely, than 5. Both share the Salesforce essential features like Lightning Locker, Lightning Data Service, and the base Lightning component as well. Okay, if you're already developing Lightning components with the Aura programming model, you can continue to do so. Okay, nobody is stopping you. You can still continue to develop Aura components. Your Aura component will continue to work as earlier as they were working before. There are no change in the functionality. Okay, you can build new components with Aura or maybe LWC. I mean, it is completely up to you. It's up to your choice, up to the requirement. Your Aura and LWC can coexist on the same page. Okay, you won't be able to tell the difference between them if you will see it on the same page. Over time, I mean, later on, maybe you can work on LWC, or maybe if you like, you can work on Aura, but over time you can consider migrating your Aura component to LWC1. Okay, so this is also very common thing in the market right now. Let's say earlier we were having classic to Lightning migration, now we are doing Aura to LWC migration. Okay, but later on I would suggest you to consider LWC as it is more powerful, and I mean definitely it is having more benefits as compared to Aura. If you are new to developing on Lightning, or if you are starting a new project, I recommend you to use the Lightning Web Component programming model, as definitely it is better than Aura. But if you are already having Aura component and maybe some existing functionality, then I won't suggest you to change it. You don't have to change it because the Aura will be working as they were working earlier. Okay. Until until you feel like you need a better performance, maybe to load a specific functionality or a component could take around 10 seconds. Okay, but to load the same functionality, LWC can take around 6 to 7 seconds. Correct. So maybe if you feel like you need a better platform, you need to go with the latest technology. In that case only you can, start the migrating thing. Now the thing is how you can start your journey. Okay, so this I would say is a very important part if you are planning to start a journey in LWC thing. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner, if you don't know anything, even though if you're not from the IT background, maybe still you can start your journey here. Okay, so here are few steps I would like to recommend. So first of all, you have to set up your Salesforce development environment and install VS Code. Okay, and you can follow the install VS Code module for that. Let me give you a quick walkthrough to that module. Okay, so this is the setup Visual Studio Code module here on Trailhead. So here you will learn like why you should use it, how you can install it, and how you can test if your developer environment is ready for the development of Lightning Web Components. And definitely it is a free technology. The VS Code is free, and it follow all the standards of a programming language. So definitely I would to use the VS Code only. It go for some other IDE as well, like IntelliJ or maybe IDE, then definitely you can use them. But as per I recommend you to use VS Code only. Okay. Now the next thing is to follow SLDS. Developing Lightning Web Component, you have to follow the standard Lightning design system. Whatever you are developing, it does not matter. Like you should not be using like custom CSS or maybe some other customized things like padding margin in your component, because your component is it should be pure JavaScript. So you should be following the SLDS thing. For the SLDS, uh, there's a website which is lightningdesignsystem.com. Okay, so whatever you are planning to build, you will be getting the example here. You can definitely check the platform Lightning here, and you can have design guidelines here to design something. Okay, and also you are having component blueprint. Here you will be having all the component like accordion, activity timeline, app launcher, avatar, chat. There's a ton of them. Let's say, let me open one for example. Let's say if I open spinner. So if you need a customized functionality and if you're trying to develop the functionality, so you can just check it by clicking on the blueprint of that component. And for other thing as well, let's say if I'm a HTML, if I'm a designer only, and let's say I would like to give a margin to a section. Okay, so I'm having two options here. Either I can have the inline CSS, or I can create an external CSS and include it in my code. Okay, you can do the same thing in LWC as well, but that is not best practice suggested by Salesforce. So let's say if you'd like to give margin or padding, so you just go to this Lightning design system, considered it as the, I would say, Bible of this LWC thing. Okay. So let's say you want to give the padding. So you just have to search for the padding. You will get the padding here. And there are some predefined classes for this padding. See, you can see SLDS P top none. It means no padding. We are having small, extra small, like in HTML, we can give it like padding 10 pixels, 15 pixels, 20 pixels. So the same way you can just make them small, medium, large. It is completely up to you. In the same way, we are having other paddings like left, bottom, right, horizontal, vertical, or around means all of the components. So if you will give the around padding small, so it will just keep the padding on the all sides of that component. Okay, so you definitely should follow this lightning design system for designing all these things. Okay, and the next thing I would suggest you to follow the component library for the lightning component, or maybe if you're working on the aura one, so you can just follow the component library. Let me open them quickly. Yep, here it is. So this is the component library. So in this component library, you will be getting the component with an working example of it. Okay, and the good news is this is available for lightning and aura both. So basically, this is for lightning components. I mean, which consider the aura and the lightning, both of them. Okay. So let's say if you are having a requirement to display a combo box or maybe display a slider in a lightning web component. So for slider, you can go to this lightning component builder and search for carousel. And then you will get the basic example of the slider. If you would like to try it, you can just simply copy and paste the code directly in your component. And because see, these examples are in working condition. And another plus point here I would say is you are not just having a single example, there are multiple. Like in this carousel, we are having carousel without auto scroll. Okay, so in that case, we have to click on the next image or maybe the button icon to scroll it to the next image. So this won't auto scroll. You can click on this bullets to go to next image. And the same way, I mean, so basically it is having all the components and all the tools which is needed to build the component. So these two links, I would say I keep them open while developing a component. So whatever my requirement is, because see, it is not possible to memorize everything, because there are multiple classes, there are multiple CSS components, so you cannot memorize everything. So that's why I just keep them open on the next screen, and whenever I need something, I can just simply see the lightning design system. If I need a component, then I can go to the component library itself. So this is also a highly recommended thing. If you're planning to learn the LWC, then you should go check out these two links. Okay. And another thing is there's a trail mix on Trailhead, which is for lightning web component itself. Let me This is also must-have thing if you are working on the Lightning Web component or if you're planning to work on it. The trail mix time is only 6 hours, 22 minutes. Okay, so maybe, I mean, if you fully concentrate on it, then maybe, I mean, if you give around 2 hours a day, then definitely you mix in, I think, 3 to 4 days. Okay, in this trail mix, you will be having some basic to advanced level examples also, and what is needed to build I would say a component with best practice. So do check out this link as well. This is also a must-have thing in my opinion if you have a component. And at the end, if you need some scenario, some example, maybe let's say if you have a scenario, and as I said, like it is not easy to memorize everything. Okay, so you can just search for the specific scenario. I'm having a for that just show it to you. For that, you can just simply go to my YouTube channel, which is salesforcepole.com, check the playlist, and here it is, LWC stack. So in this playlist, I'm having around 49 here. Okay, and these videos are based on the different requirement while I was learning LWC or while I was building the company. So this is a good playlist You should definitely check it out. It is having 49 videos. I'm putting a video in a once in a week, and I will be having the video number 50 today by today's evening. So definitely do follow. And for this playlist, if you need to search for any specific requirement, let's say if you are trying to maybe pass data from child to parent or parent to child, you can just directly search for it. Just go to the blog itself. And trust me, I'm not just saying it because this is my blog. I keep my blog open on a tab separately. Let's say if I'm having a requirement, let's say if I would like to pass the data from child to parent, so I can just simply go to my blog and search to parent. And here are few work examples of child to parent. So for me personally, I think it is easy for me to, get 100% working example, because sometimes what happen when you will google it, definitely you will be getting the result, but there will be multiple results. You have to open them, you have to try them and find out the working example from it. But here in my blog and in my playlist, I'm already having it, so I don't have to, now I'm not searching anything related to this thing on google, because I'm already having that thing on my blog itself. And let's say if you would like to check the other things, let's say maybe charts in LWC. Here are some working examples of charts as well. So it almost contains, at least I think it contains all the scenarios. Okay, so definitely this is also a must have step from my side. Okay, so yep, definitely do check this out and follow the playlist as well. Okay, so that is it for today, guys. I hope now at least you are having a basic idea of what is LWC, why you should use it, where to use it, how to use it, how to convert your aura to LWC. At least now you are having an introduction and a basic idea. So maybe if you're still thinking to go to LWC and learn it, so I think this presentation or this session, I mean, have cleared that doubt. Okay, so that's it from my side. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kathy.
So much, Kapil, for such a wonderful session. We have certain questions for you. Let me read it out to you.
Sure.
Yep, just a second.
Let me have some water, please. Okay,
Yeah, sure, sure.
because I have been speaking continuously.
Please take your time.
Yeah.
Also, I know it must be hard for you. Everyone gotta congratulate Kapil for his baby boy. Yeah.
So still, after all those sleepless nights, in morning I'm here preparing the presentation, and
Oh God.
yep,
Thank you, thank you.
how it
Thank
goes.
you so much. It's gonna be a sleepless nights for you for at least for a few months.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so the first question is, can a scratch org be a copy of an existing org?
Yes, it can be. I mean, it has to be a copy of a scratching of an existing org, because see, whenever you're working on a scratch org, so a scratch org is basically an empty org. Okay, so first you have to pull the data from an existing org. So the scratch org can copy any existing org.
Shadow Dome.
Shadow DOM elements are basically the HTML elements. Like whenever you will use an HTML element, and if you do right click and inspect element, so the elements you see on the HTML page are DOM elements. So we can use those elements to configure the Lightning web component, design it, change the styling, and all other things.
The next question is, can you please tell the difference between the scratch orgs and sandboxes?
I mean, both are completely different in a way, and I would say they're having few similarities as well. Like Sandbox, or let me do one thing. Let me compare it with a developer edition, because the Sandbox is still a paid one. I mean, if you are a business owner, then definitely you can purchase the license. But let me compare it with developer org, because both are free. So basically, in developer org, it is an org which is not going to expire. Okay, in developer org also, I mean, we are having some expiry, but that is not like 30 days or 60 days. I mean, after maybe 90 days or maybe 6 months, you will be getting an email from Salesforce like you are not using that org and we are going to expire it. And in Scratch org, you can set expiry. Okay, so once you have developed your feature, then you don't have to worry about like what is going to happen with that org. Okay, and one more thing I would like to add here. So basically, in Scratch org, you will be having all the latest release update as well. Okay, and in Sandbox, it might take some time to get the update, and in Sandbox, it would be a little difficult to update the, I would say, uh, update the sprint, because let's say if we are having in if we are working in winter right now, and if Salesforce release a new release, okay, then it is little difficult to update it in Sandbox, because in Sandbox there are chances it might affect your functionality. But instead of that, you can have a quickly create a new scratch off, deploy a code to that, and check like if the new functionality is also working as expected with the new release. So these are the basically main differences.
The next question is, do we need to learn Aura components before learning LWC?
See, the Aura and LWC both are part of the Lightning componenting. So if you are planning to work as a Lightning component developer, I'm not just talking about the LWC developer. So if you're planning to work as a Lightning component developer, then definitely you should learn Aura first, because I mean you don't know, like maybe there could be some situations. Maybe if you're working in an organization and if you get a task related to Aura, so in that case you cannot say it like I don't know Aura because the LWC is in the boom. LWC is the latest technology, because as I think I explained very well in this presentation, like these two goes together. These are perfect match for each other. But still, if you are having some specific requirement, like if you want to take over your journey as a LWC developer only, okay, then in that case you don't have to learn the Aura thing. LWC is a completely, I would say, different platform, because it only works in HTML and JavaScript. So if you know the HTML and JavaScript, you can work in LWC.
Right. Can we create Scratch org from Sandbox?
We can create Scratch org from Sandbox, and because as I said, like we have to pull the data from somewhere. So let me explain it by an example. So let's say you are working in an organization, and in that organization, they are having a Sandbox, UAT org, and the production org. And there are multiple developers working on a project. Okay. So if we will work on Sandbox, then we have to, use a common sandbox for all of those developers. Let's say if there are five developers, so five of them will be having the same platform, the same org to design a functionality. In that case, what could happen? Let's say I'm working on a functionality in which you are also working on the same. Okay. So if I have designed something and then after that, maybe you are also developing the same functionality. So our code could create a conflict in between. Okay. It won't be easy to check like which is my code and which is your code. So instead of that, we can have a scratch org in the sandbox. We can create a scratch org from sandbox, and we can assign different scratch org to different developers to develop the functionality. Because at the end, from the scratch org, when we will deploy the functionality, it will be deployed to the sandbox itself. So yes, we can create the scratch org from sandbox.
Right. There's one more question. Do we need a good Java knowledge to work with LWC? I suppose you would, if you have good JavaScript knowledge, it would be better for you to, go well with LWC. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kapil.
Is it Java or JavaScript?
It's just Java.
So that's a different thing, I think.
Yeah, with you don't need Java knowledge. Basically, I think Java. If you have good JavaScript knowledge, it would help you to learn LWC. I suppose. Like this is what I know.
Yes, you're correct, but I would say you should be having at least one OOPS programming language. Either it could be Java, .NET, or any other language to start with the programming. I mean, if your oops concepts are not clear, you won't be able to make it to a good level. You can still start from like HTML and JavaScript only, but after that you have to make sure your oops concepts are clear. The programming language concept should be clear. So it would be really beneficial for you, I mean, if you are already coming from a different programming language and if you're moving the technology, so definitely that will help you.
Next and the last question is, can you share some examples where you opted for Aura instead of LWC?
Sure, I would share a recent one. Maybe I'm not having it in the org itself, but let me, yeah, I can, tell it verbally also. So in Lightning Web Component, when you will create a Lightning Web Component quick action, okay, so those quick actions are having a different width. There's a fixed width of that quick action, okay, and you can also increase that width. Let me show some example to you. I'm already having a blog for it. So basically, for the quick action, you can increase the width by including an external CSS. Okay. But what it will do, it will increase the width of all the quick actions in your Salesforce org. Okay. Which is not good. I mean, as per the functionality, maybe somewhere you need just a basic standard size, and there could be some places where you need the wide width. Okay. So to overcome it, the solution we find out is to create an aura component, because in aura component you can have the separate width for each component. Okay, so what we did to overcome this requirement, we created an aura component first, then we increased the width of that aura component, and inside that we were having our lightning web component, which was definitely containing a full width. And by full width I mean the full width of the container. Okay, so for that lightning web component, the container was that aura component, and that's how we overcome this requirement and created a separate width component for one of our org.
Thank you. The last question is, what skills we have to learn for Aura apart from HTML and JS?
Apart from HTML and JSC, Aura is having few specific tags as Lightning is having. So you just have to follow all these steps which I have suggested you for the Lightning. The Lightning design system is same. Lightning component bundle is also same. Okay, there are no changes. The only thing that will be changed here is the trailhead modules, I would say. So for Aura, we are having different trailhead modules, and for LWC, we are having different one. So yep, I mean these functionalities are having some similarities also. In like in Aura, you can design the component in HTML, in basic HTML, or you may use the Lightning component bundle also. So basically, the requirement will be pretty similar.
The example that you just mentioned about the Aura components, like you use LWC instead of Aura, can't we have a container in LWC itself?
No, even though if you will have a container, then the container max width will be a predefined width by Salesforce for the quick action model. So you cannot increase that container width. Okay. You can only increase that container width using the external CSS. And if you use the external CSS, it is going to increase width of all the containers in your org. So let's say maybe if you are having multiple Lightning Web components quick action in your org, so it is going to increase width for all of them.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kapil. A very common question that you might be hearing it all the time, and I have seen it a lot of times in the chat. How to become a Salesforce MVP? Everyone is just
Do
looking.
we
You
do we
have
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 that
the eyes
question
on
in
your
chat?
hoodie. Sorry.
Do we have that question in chat?
Yeah, we do have that question in the chat. That was the first question when everyone did see your hoodie.
Okay. So, I mean, to become a Salesforce MVP, so basically, guys, first of all, you have to understand like what is the Salesforce MVP, and see, I mean, I personally feels like it is just a token of appreciation what we did for the community. So to become an MVP, definitely you should contribute more to community. Okay, like Khyati is doing really good on the community, so you can follow her path also, to contribute more, to give more to community. And when you give back to community, you get something back from community, and this is the MVP title as a token of appreciation for whatever we are doing on the community. So you just have to share your knowledge, share some, maybe write some articles, share whatever, it doesn't matter like how basic it is. It might be basic for you, but there could be some people, I mean, who are struggling with the same situation which is basic for you, so you can also share them as well. Okay. So I would say like there's no specific process, just you have to contribute to the community. And if you are really planning to become an MVP, I would definitely suggest you to really plan for it, think about it, don't just wish for it. Okay. And definitely, I mean, if when you think about it, you're already halfway there. Okay, so just think about it, and definitely you can also do that.
Thank you so much, Kapil, for this wonderful session and answering everyone's question. Thank you all for being here. This was a wonderful start to Lightning Web Component series.